In this video, we're going to talk about first-time homebuyer tips for rent-to-own. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Rinde from AskRinde, and welcome to the #1 community for real estate, income, and credit. So if you'd like to know what my first-time homebuyer tips are for rent-to-own, smart ways to find, buy, and rent-to-own homes, make sure you watch the video to the end and leave a comment below if you need help with anything. Buying real estate has conditions: market, price, lenders, guidelines, inventory, all of the above. But the only unconditional part of real estate is rent-to-own. Rent-to-own represents one of the easiest access to homeownership that exists. So I'd like to share with you just a few key tips that you'll need to know as a first-time buyer if you're going for a rent-to-own home. So there are 4 key tips that you need to be aware of if you're a first-time home buyer buying a rent-to-own home. Number 1 is consolidation. So consolidation represents an opportunity for families to be able to come together. With apartment pricing and rentals being sky high all across the country because of the market and the low inventory, more people are actually turning towards consolidating or grouping themselves together as families to be able to get a house, rent it, and basically stay in it with the joy of home ownership. Now, with consolidating to get a rent-to-own home, you want to get a property that has at least 3 bedrooms, has a full or finished basement, preferably with a separate entrance from the outside. Also, if it has a kitchenette or second kitchen, you also want something that has a driveway if possible. And you also want to get a rent-to-own home that is actually on a side street. You never want to get a home that's on a busy street or busy thoroughfare or busy main street within a town. Number 2, so as we've seen with the current market, many buyers cannot get homes because the inventory levels are so low and they're finding themselves in multiple bidding situations all around the country. People have actually been looking for quite some time. They have the mortgage, they're ready to go, but they're not able to actually clinch or find a home. Well, with rent-to-own, it's quite different. The majority of rent-to-own homes are not on the open market. So these are not properties that actually have competition. This is what I call no competition real estate, because rent-to-own is a world on its own. It's actually off market and off network, and is basically a terms-based part of real estate. So most times the best rent-to-own homes are not going to be on the market. And so basically you're in a position where you're not competing against anyone else. You're not trying to fend off other people from getting the property, because you're actually dealing with the homeowner and the seller one-on-one. And basically it's a terms-based deal. Now, of course, as a first-time buyer of a rent-to-own home, you actually want to be in the best position to show in the best light to the seller, to the homeowner that's actually going to offer you their home for rent-to-own. So we actually teach you how to do that, what to say, what to show them, how to be best positioned to be able to look the best possible way, your family to look the best possible way, to get accepted and have them rent their home to you on a rent-to-own basis. We teach you that in our rent-to-own fast track program. You can actually go to our website, AskRinde.com, click on rent-to-own, and get started today. So in essence, when you're using our smart ways to find and buy rent-to-own, you're in a no competition real estate space. There's no competition. There's no other families that you're fending off, and you're not having to write letters to the seller to be able to beg them and hopefully sway them your way to be able to accept you for the property. You're in a no competition zone if you're doing our smart and unique way of finding and buying rent-to-own homes. Number 3, preparation. Now this is a big one, because as a first-time buyer, you need to actually prepare to be able to purchase your home. And the preparation timeline for a regular home purchase starts at least 2 years prior to you actually buying that home. You need to actually start preparing 24 months in advance to be able to buy a home. So I'd like to actually show you what your preparation list looks like when you're doing a regular home purchase versus rent-to-own. So when purchasing a regular home, this is a snapshot list of what you'll need to be able to get approved and purchase that home. Number 1, you'll need at least probably a 720 credit score depending on your lender and what programs are available. Number 2, depending on whether or not you're buying FHA or conventional mortgage, you'll need between 3.5% to about 20% as a down payment for your mortgage. Number 3, you're going to need bank statements. Different lenders vary. They may want 6 months worth of bank statements. They may want less, they may want more, depending on your lender. Number 4, you need at least 3 to 4 months worth of reserve. Number 5, you're going to need an appraisal of the property, which generally appraisals can cost between $500 to $700 or more. Number 6, you're going to need a home inspection. Home inspection is going to be really key for you to actually find out what may be wrong with the property, to actually go through the property and find out all details regarding the structure, the foundation, if there's any termite damage, if there's any issues with the property that you'll need to fix in the future. The age of the boiler, the age of the roof, the age of the windows, etc. All those things, structural damage, all those things go into the home inspection. So home inspections can actually range. I've seen home inspections go from $800 to $1,200 depending on the home inspection company. Number 7, and this is where the 2 years worth of preparation to buy a home comes in, you'll need at least 2 years worth of tax returns. Most lenders actually require this because they want to basically see consistent income in order for them to lend the money to you that you're going to be using to be able to purchase this home. And of course, there's more to the list, things such as tank sweeps, other ancillary things that may come up that you will need depending on where you're purchasing. If you're buying into a community that has HOA fees, or if you're buying into a community that has other things that may require you to pay municipal charges, such as garbage pickup, other things that may be tacked on, you need to actually understand and realize that there is more to this list than just 7 to 8 items. On the other hand, the rent-to-own preparation lists are just 2 things. You need, number 1, money, and you also need, number 2, verified income, and that's it. Rent-to-own is not based on credit, it's not based on any of those other things. You actually get into a rent-to-own and then you start the process and take your time to be able to prepare yourself to purchase or get an institutional loan later on. But the rent-to-own process is simply easy. It's all terms-based, and there's actually 2 things that you need for that preparation list. And that's going to be money to purchase the property, which may include an option payment, security deposit, etc. And you're going to need verified income, just to be able to show the owner and the seller that you actually have sustained, verified, and consistent income. So of course, in getting a rent-to-own home, we show you actually how to prepare to be able to purchase the property as a first-time buyer. Not only when you're approaching the seller to be able to pitch them on renting their home to you as a rent-to-own, but also when you get into the property, where it really matters to prepare yourself to be able to get your home and get the actual, what I call, forever keys to your home. To be in a position where when you get into the property, you're actually preparing yourself from day one to be able to actually purchase that property at the predefined date that you will be exercising your option to purchase it. So we show you all of this and more in our rent-to-own fast track program, and you want to basically be educated on the process of being in a position to be able to actually acquire the property and be prepared to purchase that property on a rent-to-own basis. And number 4, grants and mortgages. So notice I said grants before mortgages, and that's because as a first-time home buyer for a rent-to-own home, you actually need to be educated and aware of what grants are available to be able to purchase the house. As you know, most people actually are going out and purchasing their property using their hard-earned money to be able to come up with down payment money for the property. They're sometimes saving up for a year or 2 to be able to have a substantial down payment to make their mortgage payment as less as possible. However, what they're not aware of is the fact that there are grants available, many grants available, to be able to help them with their home purchase. Some of the more popular ones that you may have heard of are like NACA, for example, and also recently the federal initiatives that have been put forth by President Biden, which is the $25,000 first-time homebuyer grant, and etc. All those grants that have actually been popularized. However, there's a whole network of grants that are available for first-time buyers and homeowners that most people are not aware of. We've actually taken the time to be able to research this and include this in our grants section of our website to help you get educated and help you be aware that this actually exists. So when you actually get into your rent-to-own home, you want to actually start taking the time now to take your time and well position yourself and your family to see how you can actually get as much of the down payment covered via grants. So the way we approach it, the 2 go hand in hand, the grants and the mortgages. And that's simply because as a first-time buyer, you want to actually get into the home and start preparing yourself of what mortgage you're going to go into to be able to purchase the property. There are different mortgage types that are available. There are conventional mortgages, FHA mortgages, VA loans. There's also USDA mortgage. There's also private money. You may get private money to be able to purchase your property and actually have better terms than a conventional loan or a conventional lender will give you. Those things are all available, and you need to start to prepare yourself as to what corridor or what type of mortgage you're going to go into. And it goes hand in hand with the grants, because if you can get a grant to be able to supplement you and give you a portion of your down payment, it makes things easier for you to be able to purchase your property when the due date comes. So again, as a first-time buyer going into a rent-to-own home, if you're armed with the proper knowledge and the right tips, you're actually buying real estate the best way possible. This is the best way to buy real estate currently because you're buying it in a most advantageous way. It's a win-win all around. So we actually teach this and more in our rent-to-own masterclass. We also share this in our rent-to-own fast track program. You can actually just go to my website, AskRinde.com, click on rent-to-own, and get started today. If If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, AskRindeNetwork@gmail.com. You can also leave comments in the comment section below. I do check and respond periodically, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.